Hello everyone, I'm Greg, and today I want to talk to you about how you can maximize your contributions to the thrift savings plan throughout the entire year, but do it and make that change while you're in the middle of the year, right? We have other videos that talk about, hey, from the first payday of January all the way to the end of the year, how can I make that change so it triggers at the first payday of the year and then is equal throughout the whole 26 pay periods? Well, that's nice and that's perfect in the perfect world, but not all of us get to do that. We get caught up right in December in the holidays, we're pretty overwhelmed in January, or quite frankly, some of us, we can't afford to do it, right? In the middle of the year, we might get a promotion, we might get, or we might go some classes to feel more comfortable with investing. So we might, be inspired in the middle of the year to go ahead and maximizing it, and you don't know where to start. It's some simple math, but I want to show you some of the things that you might need to make that calculation so you could do it for yourself. When I talk to people, employees all over the country, about how to do that, I usually do the math for them, but I want to show you how to do it, and that way you could do it for yourself throughout the years, okay? So first of all, let's look at some of the information and the items you're going to need to make this calculation, right? So let's look at my notes. So the first thing is we want to determine your age and then the year that you are in. This is the reason why. Age is important, right? The year we're in right now, I'm shooting this video, it's actually in March 8th, 2023. So we got to look at the 401k maximum for 2023. Now, that also depends on your age. If you are a person who's below 50 years old, the maximum amount of money you can contribute to the TSP in the year of 2023 is $22,500, okay? If you are someone who's 50 years old and older, you can still contribute that $22,500, but you're also allowed a catch-up provision, which is more money to save and invest because you're a little bit older and you want to catch up with your investments so you too can secure a comfortable retirement. That catch-up provision is worth $6,500, so $22,500, $6,500 combined. People 50 and over, you can contribute $30,000. Okay, and so for this exercise, the person we're gonna use, let's say they're 52 years old, right? So we'll write that up here, 52 years old, and the year is 2023. So this person can contribute a total of $30,000, and that's going to be our goal. Okay. Now, one of the other things that you're going to need is your most recent leave-in earnings statement, your LES. Okay, you can pull it up online. I'm going to show you a screenshot of an LES so you know where to find the information we're looking for, and we're going to plug that in here, right? We're going to plug in how much money you have been contributing up until today into the TSP, and then also the amount we want to change it to continue contributing to maximize, okay? Another thing you're gonna need is a pay calendar, but specifically, this video is geared more towards VA employees, and you wanna use a VA pay calendar. You wanna use the one that's specific for your agency, and the reason why that is if you just go into Google and you plug in federal pay calendar, there's more than one type, and the days don't gel together. So again, you can get that calendar from your payroll service, from your HR department. If you work in the VA, you can email me and I'll send you a copy of it, but we wanna make sure we know that so we could see the dates and the pay days throughout the year. Very important tool. Also, you wanna have a basic calculator. It is some basic math. I don't trust my math, so I'm gonna use a calculator to double check my work. And finally, the specific date we're gonna make this change, because that matters. And in this case, March 8th, 2023. Okay, so we're gonna gather this information. I'm gonna show you this stuff and walk you through it. Now up here, numbers 1 through 26, this timeline represents not just pay periods throughout the year, but specifically pay days. And I'll walk you through it as we plug the numbers in, okay? But first of all, let's go ahead and go. We know our age and the year, and we're trying to our goal is $30,000, right? But let's look at our LES and let's pull some numbers off of our LES, okay? All right, guys, so this is a screenshot, really zoomed in screenshot of the most recent leave-in earnings statement, okay? But then when you really look at this, whether you're looking at the MyPay website LES or you pull up the actual document. A lot of us, I know most employees still like to look at the actual document. What we really want to focus on is the deduction section. So focus on that, all right? Now, when we look at the deduction section, you're gonna have one, two, or both of these items. If you are making a contribution, your money is flowing into the traditional side of the bucket in the TSP, it's gonna be listed like this, TSP deduction, right? Now, I don't like this label because if you've gone on if you watched my TSP videos and done my TSP class, you know TSP is one bucket with two sides, a traditional side and a Roth side, but it's all the TSP. But what they mean in this situation is traditional. Now, it looks like this person is making traditional contributions and Roth, okay? So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Now, if you're thinking about the match money that the government's contributing, that has nothing to do with this equation, right? Deductions is the money you are contributing. So this person is putting a little bit of their own money in both the traditional and Roth side of the bucket. And let's see how much, okay? So when we look at this, we also want to look at the current column. The current means this is the dollar amount you are contributing every 2 weeks in every paycheck. So this person in the traditional looks like they're putting $274 in the traditional and also $270 in the Roth. Now, $274 in the Roth. So what we want to do, if this is you're contributing to both, is add them up. If you're only doing one or the other, well, then you have your number. But 274 plus 274 gives us a grand total. This person is contributing every 2 weeks, every payday, $548 into the TSP total, okay? So let's go ahead and plug that into our timeline and we'll kind of go from there. Remember, 548, that's our dollar amount. Okay guys, so we're back at the whiteboard and we just looked at our LES. So currently we are putting, remember this, $548 every 2 weeks, okay? I'm pretty sure we have to up this contribution, but let's do the math and run the math and figure out what that amount is, okay? So what we gotta do and look now is we gotta move more towards our pay calendar, right? So we gotta look at our timeline and we gotta look at a pay calendar and figure out where are we at right now as of March 8th. Where are we at? What's coming up? What can we expect? So then we can actually start calculating the math. So I'm gonna bring you back to the screen and I'm gonna pull up a pay calendar where we could show you some of the things that you're looking for, okay? All right guys, so this is our pay calendar. And again, I wanna reiterate a few things you wanna be paying attention to. First of all, we wanna make sure, right, this is for the VA, that is relative to your federal agency, okay? Again, don't just Google this thing. Get that calendar from your payroll service, from HR, and get it. Now, you also want to double check that it's 2023. And even though that sounds very elementary, you got to pay attention. These calendars every year look exactly alike. So if you're not paying attention, you might be looking at one from 2022. So we want to make sure it's accurate to 2023, okay? Now, I know when you look at this screen from where you're sitting watching this video, you can't make out the numbers, and that's okay for now. I'm gonna zoom in and show you a few things, but I just wanna kind of you look at the big picture first, right? And the reason why that is when we focus on this calculation, we're not looking at specific pay periods, but rather in these green squares, we're looking at specific pay days, okay? Now, and 2023 is a good example of why you need to pay attention. Because if you look at the end of the year, technically the last day of the calendar year, December 31st, it actually starts the beginning of a 27th pay period, okay? So why do we still keep calculating for 26? The reason why that is if you count all the pay days, they will total up, the last pay day of the year, December 22nd, will total 26 pay days. And that's why we want to pay attention. If you didn't know this already, the VA does not make the rules on 401k plans. It's the IRS. And the IRS doesn't care about our pay schedule. They don't care about our fiscal calendar, our pay periods. They don't care about all that. They care about the calendar year. And that's why we have to look at the last day of the year that we are getting paid. And that is the 22nd of December, the 26th payday. Okay? Now let's zoom in because I told you we're on March 8th. That's the day we're working with. Let's zoom into the March timeframe. Okay, so here we see the month of March. Now, you may not be doing this right now. You may be watching this video in November, July. Okay, we'll zoom into July, zoom into November, and do your calculations from there. But for example, today, we are looking at making this change today, March 8th. Okay, now there's a few things we gotta pay attention to. If we were to go into My Pay today to change our dollar amount, even though it is March 8th, when we make the change today, it will not kick off into the beginning of next pay period, which is, if you look at pay period 6, begins the 12th of March. Yes, on Sunday. The pay period begins on a Sunday. But if it takes effect there, we gotta be careful. We've been paid already on the 3rd. The next payday is on the 17th. But if our change takes effect on the 12th, remember, we gotta work this whole week. We gotta work a second week of the pay period to get paid on the Friday of the 3rd week. So essentially what I'm saying is even though we make a change here and it takes effect here, that change on the most immediate payday will not be changed yet. It'll take effect here. So let's count them up right now. So far, January, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paydays. And again, I told you 5, it's not going to take effect. Even though it takes effect here, it will not impact the 6th payday. So the 6th payday will be the same. If we make the change today, it'll kick off here, but it'll impact our 7th payday. Okay? So let's go ahead and plug that into the timeline and make sure that we know what we're doing. Okay? So again, change it here. It'll still continue here, but it really won't take effect until this payday on the 31st. Let's go back to our timeline. Okay, so we're back in our timeline. And even me, back in the screens, back and forth. I'm hoping this is just pieces of paper in front of you or computer screens in front of you. I'm hopping back and forth, so I gotta stay on track too. So I mentioned before, we've already gotten paid for 5 paydays, right? But even though we make the change on the 8th, it will not impact our immediately next payday, right? But it will impact on the 7th payday. So essentially right now, these paydays, remember what we said, we've been contributing $584 every payday, right? So down here, okay? And if we make a change today, it'll impact from the 7th payday all the way to the end of the year, okay? So first of all, let's go ahead and calculate what we have going on and how much have we dumped into the TSP so far, right? So let's go ahead and finish this out. This is how much money we've dropped into the TSP so far. Now, so let's just start running our math. Our goal, going back to our goal, is 30,000. So let's go ahead and do that, 30,000. So far, we've dumped in 3,288. That brings us to $26,712. So this is how much money we are left to contribute in the remaining paydays. Well, how many do we have left? Let's count them up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 19, 20. 20 paydays left. So 20 paydays left. We want to divide this. What do we come up with? 1,000. So we come up with $1,335.60. Now, this is how much money we should be contributing for the rest of every payday for the rest of the year. But when you go into My Pay, you're going to realize My Pay does not allow you to plug in dollar amounts with change. It has to be whole dollar amounts. Now, there's 2 trends of thought when it comes to this. My recommendation is round down, right? So only contribute $1,335 every payday for the rest of the year. And I'm going to show you the reason why. Okay? So here on out, I recommend $1,335. Okay? We round down, meaning we drop the 60 cents. So every payday, we're going to do that. Okay? Now, there is another trend of thought to round up, okay? So they would round up to $336, drop the change and round up. So let's see what that looks like, okay? Okay. So right now, we got our math for the rest of the year. Now, let's go ahead and, now technically, we have our dollar amount. We can go into My Pay, change it to $1,335 every 2 weeks, every payday, and we will maximize the TSP for the rest of the year, okay? But let's double check our work, and let me show you why I recommend to round down, meaning drop the 60 cents, rather than rounding up and rounding up to the next whole dollar amount, okay? Okay, so this is my recommendation, $1,335 times 20 remaining pay periods. So let's multiply that. We come up with $26,700, okay? Now that was from pay period 7 and beyond. Let's work back. But we've also already contributed $3,288, so let's add that up. $3,288. Now let's total that up. That's 2. Okay? So look at this. Our goal is $30,000, but because we rounded down, we're a little bit short, right? $29,988, okay? So this is my recommendation, and some of you out there are thinking, hey Greg, we did not max it. I wanna round it up, right? So let's round up and let's do the math and see what we come up with there, right? So if we round it up, we are 1,336 times 20. Okay, so at $1,336, rounding up, for 20 pay periods, we are going to come up with a total of $26,720. Okay, now we've already put in $3,288. So let's go ahead and add that up. So when we add that up, we come up, our goal was $30,000. We come up with $30,008. So we actually over contributed. Now this is the thing, and this is you can call it a debate, you could call it a discussion, or just difference in perspective. Now, I always recommend rounding down versus rounding up. This is what's supposed to happen when you contribute through MyPay into the TSP. When you contribute through MyPay to the TSP, what's supposed to happen is once you hit that $30,000 mark, and in this case, we went a little bit over, what MyPay, what DFAS is supposed to do is trigger that and then get this remaining money, in this case, $8, and rather than over contribute, because an over contribution is a tax penalty, rather than over contributing, they get that remaining money, that $8 in this case, and dump it back into your paycheck so you don't go over. Okay, so some people, knowing that, they're very happy to run up. Why? Because they know they've put every penny that they're legally allowed to dump into the TSP. Okay, so why would I ask you to do that? Okay, so right now in the method I'm recommending is $29,988. So we're a little bit short. So because we're a little bit short, matter of fact, let's be specific here. 30,000 minus 29,988. We're short $12. Okay. So over contributing, allowing DFAS to automatically kick the money back to you, or being $12 short. So this is my perspective on that situation, right? My perspective is the difference between what is supposed to happen at work, with our pay, with processing, and what can realistically happen. Okay, So the reason why I would rather do this, in my opinion, is, so it's $12, okay? I would rather under contribute by $12 in an entire year in the scope of a $30,000 investment, knowing full well I will not go over the legal limit, okay? And the reason why that is think about this way. How many times have you done paperwork? You've filled out forms online or you've contributed and you were relying on someone calculating it properly and doing the proper thing, the actual standard procedure to do those things right, and they didn't do it and things went wrong. I want you to think about that, whether it be in your in-processing, managing your pay, and I want you to think about when things go wrong. If you have ever had anything that happened to you, right, and I'm trying not to be cynical here, I think most federal employees have had something like that happen. And this is every year we're doing this. Is if you think about the pain, the time, the effort, the energy, and maybe even dollar amounts that it took you to clean up that mess by making all these phone calls and all these emails to clean up a mess that was supposed to happen but didn't happen according to procedure. My question to you is, all that time, effort, energy, agony, and being upset and stress worth $12? One of my number one, me and my spouse, our investing principles, number one is minimizing stress. So in the grand scheme of things, $12 amidst a $30,000 investment every year per person, and again, some of you you also have spouses doing this, is not worth dealing with cleaning up a mess that was supposed to be done, right? Because it was a standard operating procedure. So that is my perspective. It's the difference between what's supposed to happen and what actually happens once in a while. I'm not saying people screw things up all the time. I'm saying it happens once in a while. I'm saying the stress of cleaning up the mess is not $12 to me. I'll put that $12 in another investment account, like an outside IRA or something like that, right? So again, what is it worth to you, right? Is it worth rounding down and knowing that you're going to come in $10, $12 short, depends on what your situation is, or rounding up and trusting that someone is going to do what they're supposed to do, or a system's going to work the way it's supposed to, and then you don't have to deal with the IRS in terms of why did you over contribute? Okay, so guys, I just want to make sure I show both ways of doing things, two different perspectives on it. But I hope that this wasn't too overwhelming. I'm hoping that you'll still work on calculating this. If you do need help, you can always reach out to me. It's one of those things, I would rather teach you how to fish than give you a fish, because if you are a super saver, super investor, you're going to do this every year. And I want to make sure that you can run the calculations yourself. With that said, guys, you can always reach me at gregory.mesa, Gregory Mesa, the number 2 at va.gov, and we can talk about any of the questions that you might have, or maybe I can double check your math for you. Right? With that said, guys, have a great day.